Learn to be super successful. Subscribe to my channel, meathead.
You could just say we have built-in appreciation or some type of margin in the real estate of, 1.7 million due to good negotiation. That's a good point. The other one is it's going from flat to 190,000 net cash flow because we know what the fuck we're doing 16 times over. And that's just, okay, fine, that makes sense. Those are really great reasons. And you have the team.
I do,
have the team, right?
Is this a Swiss team or...
A Swiss team, but mostly Germans.
What do you think?
Well, I don't want to say anything anti-German on for the docu-fuck guys.
Oh, okay.
But when the Germans get it...
You get it.
They fucking get it. 3 of the 4 superstars of recent years, although Marcus Bauer doesn't consider himself German, but to me, he's Germanic, okay, are German. I mean, they just are. And we've got a couple guys coming up the rungs now. Andreas Milner, I mean, he would be in the Hitler Youth Movement last week. I mean, this guy snaps his heels together. I mean, he's like out of a movie. But he just closed his 3rd deal, either the day before Christmas, and so when the Germans get it, they get it. But it's hard. It's tougher, a little tougher in Switzerland. So and he knows that because he was telling us. It is. It's I don't know if it's their neutrality or their, I don't know what it is, but they're just they're skeptical. I think it's and they don't believe anything. And after they see it, they still don't believe it. Then they'll go ask some colleagues, and then their skepticism will be renewed as soon as one of their colleagues, oh, that's got to be a lie. Then you're back to ground zero again, trying to convince the dipshits.
The seller was Italian, so my job was be a buffer a lot, because the Italians, it is like this, maybe a little bit more EBITDA. And the Swiss go, but what exactly is it? And I was like, tell me some specific numbers, and I guess between this and that's how I had to translate more or less, even though they spoke the same language.
That's just one question,
Correct.
Which was, in terms of how we're supposed to flow, is it that, just confirming, each one of us is going to present one of the deals that
they
we
brought,
came with,
and then you go around to the second deal that you brought. If you didn't bring 2 deals, then we'll fill it in with one of the case studies. All the groups have between 5 and 8 or 9 general case studies, like Disney taking over Pixar, etc. And then we'll start on those. But you're going to get up and you're going to present it. First, you present it to yourselves, and so you get some of the kinks out of it, the presentation. And then when you go to the big classroom, then you present it. The ones that you brought, you present yourself.
How much time do we have to present?
What?
How much time do we have each person?
Well, there's no limit.
Okay.
cool.
But afterwards, I may tell you took 20 minutes too long, or you were too short. But I want you to freely, verbalize and be able to handle questions from the floor. And most, some of the guys are. You'll think they're asking you questions to be an asshole, but no, they're just glaring holes in the presentation.
That's good.
So it's better that you hear it from a colleague, as they say. Thank you. Now, back in the 90s when we gave, this would be all vodka.
So we're all going to present 2 cases.
Correct. And then, depending on how you decide whether you do joint the big cases, split them up, because some of the cases are pretty intense, vis-a-vis a lot of shit to cover.
So it's one big case for all of us to present to.
No, like, for example, Disney Pixar.
Yes.
It's a deal that happened 15 years ago, but, should it have happened? If you were to do, how would you have done it differently? Would you have just walked away? And if you recall, Jobs had left, got thrown out of Apple, bought Pixar, funded it with a bunch of money for a number of years, then sold it on to Disney. Disney already had 5% interest, but then they sold the main, and he got, several $100 million or $1 billion, and then he went back to Apple. But there are other cases. There's the Time Warner AOL case but those are normally joint presentations, and and you can split it up, various different ways, and then the close, and then you open it to Q&A, and then the kids will ask questions. I will ask a question, but I also stop you in the middle of the presentation for teaching points, because just because I see it's a teaching point, that doesn't mean anybody in the class is going to see it. So I'll stop you and say, "Oh, Rose, what does that mean?" Etc. Like I've already commented to the other groups, I'm going to comment again to you. They're talking about, so far, most of the cases that they're looking at work, but they just assume they work for not just because it's a motivated seller, but remember the loans have to be structured in three parts. There's the loan, principal loan, let's say 70 or 80 or 90% of the value you're going to get. Okay. There's a working capital loan that you ask for after you got the term sheet on the first loan. Oh, by the way, I need working capital. I'm sure you didn't do that on purpose to jerk me around, but obviously I need working capital, and no banker worth of salt will say you don't need working capital. And then once you get the working capital, like Columbo, by the way, what about a line of credit? Now, smart bankers, as I've said now, this is my fourth time saying it, will say, especially if they've come up against a QLA bot before. Okay, this is a salami deal. What are the three requirements up front? Then they got you. You still give them the three requirements, but you don't have the beauty of dropping it. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, all my bankers dropped it right away. They're just like, you're going to need working capital. That needs to be factored. And your debt service covenants also need to be factored with the line of credit. How big is the line of credit?
Okay.
And I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Canadians.
So the order is the first you get the principal loan approved. You get that done, and then you move to the next one, which is the working
capital.
Ideally,
if they let you. Working capital, and then the last is line of credit. Now, some will just say, if you got a $10 million business, you're probably going to have working capital $400,000 or $500,000. Okay, they will say, okay, you're going to have to take your line of credit out of that. Because at the end of the day, they will bundle all the numbers up, so debt service has got to be covered. Now, on the line of credit, you pay a fee, whether you use it or not, normally 1% every year, and whether you use it or not. But it's well worth the 1 point to have the money available when you want it. And the working capital will be structured to some sort of term. But I would rather not allow them to hook on the working capital to the main loan. I like to see them as two separate entities.
Part of you get like a receivables loan, right?
Oh yeah, but receivables is something else. Depending on your business, you can leverage your receivables, and if you have IBM receivable, you can get 95 cents on the dollar. If you got Joe Schmaltz, electrician, 20 cents on the dollar. So because there's A level receivables, B, C, D, and I don't know if they go below D. And but the bigger the customer, the more high profile the customer, like General Motors, IBM, government. Oh, you can get almost 100%. On the dollar. Government paper, they may pay slow, but they always pay. They may pay slow. And big companies pay slow. They squeeze you. It's a cash flow game. The normal or the average big company is normally got between a 10 and 25-day spread between when they collect the money and when they have to pay the money. So they're making that float off of that spread. And that's what supposedly one of the main functions of the corporate treasurer is, to make sure that he's squeezing the poor bastard customers to get the money out as quickly. And they may even give you terms, they give you a discount if you pay within so many days. I forget what it's called, but they may even give you terms. But at the end of the day, the terms that they're giving you is lucrative. And I'm not saying don't take the terms, but they are leveraging that money many times over because they're not paying somebody out. Nobody gives, well, I won't say this. Rarely does IBM get terms. Rarely, but IBM does give terms, or at least did. I don't know if it does now, vis-a-vis the new economy. Okay, what questions on this deal for me? Comments?
Like which ones? In terms of the presentation of it?
No. In terms of, I mean, anything. Even though Patrick is smooth as baby shit, I mean, where are there speed bumps, if any?
For me, right off the bat, I was just like, shit. Like the net operating cash was negative, and automatically for me, that's a huge red flag, and I wouldn't touch it. Now I don't understand real estate. I've always focused on business and just doing the assets and doing those types of things. So there was a real estate play that I didn't fully get. But, he has a margin of safety in there, proven track record, 16 rental properties already, or rentals, where he's leasing the space and making good cash. And he's on track to actually hitting his numbers. But the biggest speed bump there I just saw was the...
Well, I'm the same. I'm... although I made money in property, if it's got a negative cash flow, it's got to have another reason why it's important. And in the smaller deals, one at a time, the 1, 2 million, and 3 million. I mean, you can hardly bring on board something with negative cash flow. Although one of the brothers has got a deal that because it's so small. It's only a couple $100,000 and it's a negative 10 grand or something like that he can just fold it into his regular business, no problem. He can pay for that deal out of their current working capital or a line of credit, which they didn't have.
That's kind of like what
that's because in 2019 I did around this facility in the region of Zurich. I built 9 facilities, and just from the profit that we made from those, I could cover if there's anything missing. Even though this is for the size I'm used to, a behemoth at 5 million, we could cover that as well. So that was where I was like, so come on, there's no risk in here.
And the other one is that there's no real estate in the area. So he just got a piece of real estate, and now he's starting to build a monopoly because there isn't that many of these types of businesses in Zurich. So I know you said no strategic, but that's pretty fucking strategic.
Then he mentioned also that the valuation changes to 6.2 once you have the facility.
Once it is 6.7, once it is up and running and fully filled to capacity, and then even
can you
then
refinance at that point?
Yes, 100%. Yes. We already discussed with the bank, and then there is still the potential of doubling the space we can use because it's not using all of the land. We can add 1,400 square.